Hi boys and girls, this is the video to review lesson 7.2. I apologize that it was a little difficult and confusing for some of you to follow, and hopefully this video will clarify the answers for you. So I have two computers up. On one of them I'm logged in as my daughter as a student. So I have a student view, and over here I'm logged in connected. Don't forget to write your first and last name on the form, boys and girls. Today I received two assignments with no names on them, so I'm not sure who they are from. Okay, so over here, I'm just gonna open this up over here, baking muffins, because it just shows the list of ingredients. So the problem says that there are two sisters who wanna bake muffins for breakfast. And this is the list of all the ingredients they need to bake the muffins. I'm not going to read the list because I just want to keep this video as short as possible. So I'm going to spend more time on the questions. So the question number 1 says that the sisters want to triple the recipe. That means I have to multiply by 3. How many teaspoons of baking powder do they need now? So I look over here and I look for the baking powder, and it says 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So if this is my notebook, if this whiteboard were my notebook, I'm going to write number 1, and I'm just going to multiply 2 times 3. Okay, equals 6. Okay, remember the reason I'm multiplying by 3 is because the girls want to triple the recipe. So that's where I'm getting the 3 from. Okay, question number 2. How many teaspoons of salt do the girls need? So I look, I could scroll up over here, and if you're using Connected, obviously you'd have to just click back and forth between the screens. So salt, they need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm gonna multiply by 3, again, because the girls wanna triple the recipe. Okay, now, to multiply a fraction by a whole number, I write a 1 underneath the whole number. So now I have a numerator and denominator. And I just multiply across. 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 1 is 4. So my answer is 3/4. Boys and girls, I fixed the form. So now moving forward, you're gonna be able to write a fraction symbol and words. I know it was an issue today. Some of you were not able to write the numbers, but you could always have written 3.4, and I would understand that you meant 3/4. Question number 3. How many cups of whole wheat flour do they need now? So I'm gonna look over here for the whole wheat flour, and it says that they need 1/2 cup. Okay, so in my notebook, I'm gonna write 1/2. And remember, I multiply by 3 because they want to triple the recipe. Okay. I write a 1 underneath the whole number and multiply across. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. So my answer could be 3/2, or you could divide. When you see that there's a numerator that's bigger than the denominator, you can divide that. So I'm going to do the work on the side. 3 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 3 one time, and then I multiply. 1 times 2 is 2, and then subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now, the remainder 1, I'm going to write it over the divisor to write it as a fraction. So my answer could be 1/2 or 3/2. They're both the same thing. So now I fixed this Google form, so now you can write 1 and 1/2. Okay? Or you could have written 3/2, and I would understand that the 3.2 means 3/2. Okay, now number 4. Between what two whole numbers is the answer for number 3? So for number 3, the answer was 3/2, or it was 1/2. So boys and girls, look, for number 4, here is a little number line, and I'm just gonna put 1, 2, and 3 on this number line. So if my answer for number 3 is 1/2, where would I put 1/2 on this number line? Hopefully you said here between the 1 and the 2, right? My 1.5 would be in the middle of 1 and 2. So the answer for number 4 is between 1 and 2. Okay, question number 5. Suma and Pooja decided to bake 48 muffins instead of 12. That is 4 times more. So now I have to multiply times 4. So how many cups of blueberries did they use? So if I scrolled back up to the top to look at the blueberries, you could see that they need 3/4, right? This is number 5. But now I'm gonna multiply by 4. I'll just scroll back down to number 5. Okay, so now I multiply by 4. The same thing, I'm just gonna put a 1 underneath the whole number and multiply across. 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 1 is 4. And you see how my numerator is bigger than the denominator? That means I could divide. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my answer is 12/4 or 3. Okay. Okay, so over here, I'm gonna write 12/4 or 3. Okay, number 6. How many teaspoons of cinnamon do they need? All right, cinnamon. So they need 3/8 of cups of cinnamon, not cups, teaspoons of cinnamon times 4. So I put a 1 underneath the 4 and multiply across. So this is 12, and 8 times 1 is 8. So my answer is 12/8. Or you can divide 12 divided by 8. And 8 goes into 12 once. 1 times 8 is 8. Subtract. My remainder is 4. So remember, I take my remainder and I put it over my divisor. Okay, so the answer is 12/8 or 1 4/8. Or you can, I don't know if you remember, but 4/8 is also an equivalent fraction for 1/2. So 1 1/2 would also be correct. Okay, so for number 6, we're gonna say 1 4/8. Number 7, how many cups of honey did they use? So I'm gonna look to see how much honey. 2/3. Okay, so number 7, 2/3 times 4. Okay, there's my 1 underneath the 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. So 8/3. Or I'm going to divide. 3 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 3 is 6. And then subtract. 8 minus 2 is 2. So I'm going to write the 2 over the 3. So 2 2/3 or 8/3. Okay, so scroll down here. And now you'll be able to write 2 2/3. Okay. Between what two whole numbers is the answer for number 7? So we're going to look at number 7. And the same thing, boys and girls. If you have, like, draw just a little number line, 1, 2, and 3. And where would 2 2/3 go on this number line? Hopefully you said somewhere in between the 2 and the 3. Okay? And that's it. That's the answer. It's going to be between 2 and 3. Between 2 and 3. All right, boys and girls, that's it for today. I'm gonna give you further practice on this skill throughout the week. Actually, on Friday, I'll create a Google form where you'll practice multiplying a fraction by a whole number. All right, boys and girls, have a good night.